I remember going first time taking a friend to see a reef, and first thing he asked me is, "Where is Nemo?" Where is Nemo? I can't see Nemo. I've been hearing a lot something called coral bleaching. Okay, what is it? Give me an lead.
When the water temperatures rise, that's not great. But what happens is when they rise and they stay at a high level for way too long, that's not optimal, the zooxanthellae starts to get really stressed and it starts to leave the coral, and that's what we get bleaching. That's when we get.
So what is the reason that caused in 2024 the bleaching? What was it?
Oh, I think it was just like, I don't really know an exact reason as such, but I think it was just like a perfect storm of events where we had...
Yeah. Do you guys think like more and more kids, this generation, this generation are aware, or are they more?
I think a lot of the younger generation really care, and I think that's like one of the biggest things also with the high rock.
Right. Now, give me 3 best spots in Hervey Bay where you can see the best coral.
I would have to say the Gables is one of my favourite reefs, and the Torquay Reef. I really love those 2 places. They're so special, and there's such a diverse amount of marine life.
What is the weirdest marine creature you have come across?
Oh, this isn't really on the reefs, but like the mud skippers that in the mangroves and on the rocks, really interesting little creatures there.
What is the biggest myth people believe about coral?
Okay, this is a big one. A lot of people think that corals are rocks. So they think they're rocks, and then trying to explain to them that they're actually little animals. But they're also plant-like as well, and that's why.
Yeah. What is the best time of the year to see reef in our region?
Autumn and winter.
Yeah.
What's the funniest thing that happened to you guys? Anything?
Oh, I lost a fin, and I was trying to find it, and I was freaking out because I didn't want to like pollute the water.
So, what as locals, what can we do?
I think that at the same time, instead of looking at these big issues, there are a lot of things that we can do personally that actually altogether would have a bigger impact than trying to convince someone to stop or to start something.
Hey guys, welcome to the another episode of Studio 9 podcast. Today, we're chatting with Breannah Mitchell and 14-year-old legend Jasper Stern from Hervey Bay Coral Watch. Now, they're real legend in our community. Why? Because we be talking all things reef, marine life, conservation, and how everyday people can protect our ocean right here in Hervey Bay. Now, make sure you like, share, and subscribe, because the more people it reaches, the more amazing local stories we can share with you within our community. So do like, share, and subscribe, and let's start the podcast. Hey guys, welcome to the another show of Studio 9, and in our podcast today we have Jasper and Breannah from Coral Watch Hervey Bay. They've been an amazing guys in our community, and they're doing some phenomenal work, and we are here to share their story in our podcast today. So guys, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So while I was doing some research on you guys and everything, so let us start with someone who's watching this podcast. We really want to ask us, what is Coral Watch? How does it all started with you guys? And just tell in briefly what you guys do in Hervey Bay.
Ever since I was a little girl, I've always been really fascinated with the coral reefs here in Hervey Bay. And my mum took me out snorkeling out to the Gables, and I fell in love with the reefs. It was absolutely an amazing wonderland. And that was the first reef I snorkeled when I was about 14 years old. And then I got really excited and interested in conservation, environmental conservation. And something just came to me, and I said to Mum, like, not many people know about the reefs here. Like, we have to raise awareness about this. And I remember going to Lady Musgrave and coming across a guide was talking about Coral Watch, and I got really excited, and I was like, what is this? Like, anyone can become a citizen scientist? This is really cool. And so then I jumped onto it straight away, and it was really exciting because Mum and we became the first Coral Watch ambassadors for Hervey Bay.
And what year was that?
In 2023.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So that was really exciting. We did a Coral Watch ambassador program on Heron Island.
Yeah. And Jasper, what's your story there?
Well, basically, like, I've always really been interested in our local waterways, reefs. I've been, the outdoors has been a really big part of my life from a very young age. I've been fishing, snorkeling, just, anything to do with the outdoors from a young age. And so I think I was about, 12 years old in 2023. And I was thinking, well, what's something that I can do after school, or like something that just fills up my time that I can do that, relates to the outdoors, preferably the oceans, because that's an area I'm really passionate about. And popped up in my school newsletter. It was a Coral Watch Youth Ambassador Citizen Science Program, and that was a 4-day workshop in Bargara. Over those 4 days, we actually went to Lady Musgrave Island. We held a community event. We went to some of the local reefs in Bargara, and we just learnt more about the reefs. And like, I found it really beneficial for myself because it's something that I'm really passionate about, and it allows me to really connect and educate the community, because I feel that, like, if more people knew about this, we could do a better job at, like, conserving the reefs, I reckon.
Well, it's phenomenal, like, when you're 14 years old and you ride on the journey, mate. So it's congratulations.
Thank you.
And great. And this is how great stories start, and we have, we call it, like, you don't have to be a superhero or Superman to do some great work, All this adds up, in a longer run. Great. So what's something most locals probably don't realize about the reef around our region?
I would have to say how close they are. They're the closest inshore coral reef in Australia to an urban city centre, and they're 6,500 years old. And a lot of people don't know that they can literally just walk off the shore and go snorkeling.
So that's Hervey Bay?
Yep.
Pretty much. So you're saying we can go walking distance and we got the reef?
Yep.
Amazing.
Even go for a reef walk.
Yeah,
low
right.
tide.
Well, which part of Hervey Bay is we saying?
Well, from my recollection, it's like all across the Esplanade there. It starts around Essa Park, the Gables in Point Vernon there, and it goes all the way down to about Torquay, yeah. There's an artificial reef there in Urangan, but all the natural reef is in Torquay. Goes from Point Vernon to Torquay. It's absolutely beautiful. Get out there, even at a low tide, just wade out there and see. It's amazing.
We've also got corals around Big Woody and Round Island and Little Woody Island, which is really exciting. And I think, like, it would be great to see, like, some ecotourism on the reefs and more people just becoming more aware of the reefs here.
Well, I'm pretty sure not a lot of people know about this.
No,
stuff.
not at all.
Even I've been in the Bay for almost 15 years now, and I didn't know. Yeah, I know that you have some good beaches and some reefs as you go towards the probably Pelican. I'm not sure even, I'm probably guessing, Pelican banks and stuff like that. But those are the most popular stuff that tourists does.
Yep.
Nobody really realizes. And I was just scrolling through a couple of things, and I just saw, there's a lot of, like, a talk about coral and things like that. And you're like, wow, I think there's something we should really need to talk about.
Definitely.
And I think more and more people, if you're watching this podcast, I think we should protect what we have. And the only way you can protect it, if you know about it.
Yes.
And the education is key, and spreading awareness is the first step of understanding what the best part of we have in this bay.
100%.
Because sometimes I think I've realized this in many of my career and my journey, that sometimes something amazing can be next door to you, and you probably will not even know about it, because you think it's here, like, who cares, and I think it's great what you guys are doing.
Thank you.
So
Thanks.
Let's talk with technical stuff. I've been hearing a lot something called coral bleaching. What is it? Give me in a layman term, someone on a 10-year-old, or I can't say 14-year-old, but you are a 14-year-old, so you must be knowing more technical stuff. But let's say there's a 10-year kid who wants to know what's a coral bleaching. What does that actually mean?
Do you want me to give it? I can give it a go if that's okay. Or?
Yeah, of course.
Thank you. So, essentially, think of coral as like an animal, but it has like different little animals living in it. So different types of algae. The algae is called zooxanthellae, and the algae is lives inside the coral, and it's what is called a symbiotic relationship. So if I'm correct from memory, don't judge me, this is off by memory. The zooxanthellae, it provides the coral with the nutrients and the
Colour and food.
yeah, the food and all that, and it's nutrition, and the coral provides it with a home. And so what happens is when the water temperatures rise, that's not great. But what happens is when they rise and they stay at a high level for way too long, that's not optimal, the zooxanthellae starts to get really stressed and it starts to leave the coral, and that's what we get bleaching. That's when we get bleaching. And essentially, our reefs can recover from bleaching, but in a really, how do I say this, in a really negative event, in a really catastrophic event, it can take up to 7 years or more to fully recover.
Yeah, okay. So the rising temperature, so I know now we can get into as depth into climate change and what's happening surrounding us and everything, and that's rising temperature. So when you say rising temperature, it means it's getting hotter. Is that correct?
I think like also with Hervey Bay, like we had a really severe bleaching event in 2024. Yeah. And it was so bad. Like that happened at Essa Park. And it was actually the first time I'd put my underwater camera under the water. And I was like just in tears, like just seeing all the bleached coral, and none of that coral I recorded actually recovered. And that was really sad. And the footage was like played all around the world, and just showing like that the bleaching was happening further down south. And I think like also I've lived in Hervey Bay my whole life, and you know whatever we do on land impacts our ocean. So that can be from like land runoff, also urban heat islands. So like when we're not having enough trees around areas, and you know like bulldozing trees, that creates a lot of heat, and then you've got heat from all like the footpaths and all cement roads. And I think like that's what people don't understand too. Like yeah, obviously like with climate change it's to do with you know like your carbon footprint, but there's so much that we can do to reduce our carbon footprint. So
what is the reason that caused in 2024 the bleaching? What was it?
Oh, I think it was just like I don't really know an exact reason as such, but I think it was just like a perfect storm of events where we had coral was extremely vulnerable to the higher water temperatures, and pretty sure 2024 that was El Nino, or is that La Nina?
La Nina.
Yeah, well, basically, like the weather pattern was extremely unusual for that time of year, from memory.
Well, we also had floods close by. So we had the 2021 and 2022 flooding events.
And that just like contributed to it.
Yeah, so all that, the flood water from the Mary River just like came out. And it's an accumulative impact over time. So like flooding impacts our reefs so much because like it's carrying out all this like nutrients from the waterways and everything like that, and it just sits around the reefs. And when we were doing a lot of like our coral data and everything like that, we noticed a lot of the reefs were just so hot, and like there was no like just cool water flowing through the reefs. And like and with floods as well, like that also impacts our turtles. So a lot of the turtles were washing up with soft shell syndrome, and a lot of the seagrass beds were had a lot of sediment on there, and the turtles were also becoming stressed and losing a lot of weight.
So it's no coral, no marine life.
Yep, no coral, no fish, no sharks, no sharks. Just you take one aspect away, the whole entire thing just collapses.
So what as locals, what can we do?
Well, look, I think that, you see a lot of people that are talking about we need to achieve net zero by this year and we need to get rid of oil. And I think that that's all well and good. But I think that at the same time, instead of looking at these big issues, there are a lot of things that we can do personally that actually altogether would have a bigger impact than trying to convince someone to stop or to start something. Like, it's as simple as like by turning your lights off when you're not in the room, or to buy second hand. If you're within walking distance of somewhere, just ride a bike. You don't need to go by car. Just simple everyday things like that.
I think when it comes to saving planet and reefs and everything, people think big stuff.
Yeah.
Stop flying or do this stuff, don't burn, things like that. I think the idea here is to start small.
Yeah, definitely.
Because that's when it scares you. That's when you think, oh my God, they're asking not to drive to work or not to fly anymore. Or,
I mean, we would be hypocrites.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly. And I'm a big advocate for the coral reefs, but I also think that it's whenever we want to take action to something, it needs to be realistic. It's not realistic to just get rid of cars and all that. It's not. But what is realistic is from home we can control what we use.
Yeah.
Which if all of us work as one, that means we might be able to see some results in the future.
Yeah. Do you guys think more and more kids, this generation this generation are aware, or are they more saying, hey, I think I want to contribute to be part of this change, or they just don't care?
I think a lot of the younger generation really care, and I think that's one of the biggest things also with the high-rise building the Sheraton. We wanted to protect the reefs because a lot of our younger generation haven't even had that chance to even go out to the reefs.
No.
And when you go into schools and everything like that, the kids are just so interested in learning about our environment, and they're so passionate. And when you see their faces light up and they're excited about seeing a reef or seeing the marine life, that makes you excited, and I think that makes us want to just keep protecting what we have, because we want that younger generation to grow up not feeling like everything's dead.
I try to just talk to my mates in class and talk to my mates at school about how we can limit our impacts, and how there's a beautiful reef out there, there's nice fish out there. If you want to go fishing out there, which I do quite often, just be sustainable about it. Don't take 50 whatever coral trout just because you can. And I think that comes back to the being realistic side of things. I don't think it's really fair to tell us to stop fishing, whatever, but what is very fair is to educate and spread awareness, especially to the younger generation, because as it stands, they are the future, we are the future, and we're going to be the ones that decide. It's really up to us.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And I think I personally seen too, more and more younger generation are getting into it, trying to save the planet, or are they contributing towards something greater?
Yeah.
And which is a very, very good sign. There'll be always people who will go against this because they have their own agenda or whatever.
Well, I think even here, it's really sad. The university doesn't even have a marine studies degree here,
that's ridiculous.
And we've got a marine mecca. There's so much potential here for youth to even stay here. They always just for hospitality and everything like that. But there's so much education opportunities, and it is really exciting that council's now a Reef Guardian Council, because then we can get. It can become a Reef Guardian schools and everything like that. But I think there's just so much more that we can do here to even just have our youth stay. And how amazing would it be growing up in Hervey Bay and then being able to study and contribute to our reefs, or even having tourism operators on our reefs and having that education just flowing.
It is, and I think, and this is a great thing. I think I know that one of the local politicians recently was trying to push more universities and things like that, but I think we have a great university, and it needs to encourage the subjects that's close to our so kids can stay home, they understand our region, and they do better for us than going and helping someone else.
I mean, we even have seagrass beds that are 50 metres from shore, and all our reefs are only 50 metres from shore. How amazing is that? When you're on the Great Barrier Reef, you have to go kilometres out, but here you can literally just jump in and you're there.
So, Coral Watch, okay, is it a global thing, or is it Australian thing, or is it what is it?
So Coral Watch is based at the University of Queensland, and it was the Coral Health Chart was formed in 2002 on Heron Island due to a bleaching event, And the coral health chart is incredible because anyone can become a citizen scientist, and it's all about just comparing the colours of the corals and what types of corals that you see. So you might see a boulder, branching, plate or soft coral, and it's all you have to do is just comparing the lightest and darkest shades. And what's really exciting about this, because it's just so easy to use, is that little kids as young as like 3 can literally just compare colours of the coral just by placing the chart next to the coral.
Okay, let's go through that colors. Okay, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Do you want to?
Sure,
Yeah.
I'd be happy to do that. So, give you guys a rundown. So, you're snorkeling on the reef. Oh, it's a cool coral. You got, let's say, the lightest part of the coral, right? Let's say that's a C3. You record it on the back here. Lightest colour would be a C3. Then compare the darkest colour. Let's say it's going to be a C5. Record on the back, C5. Tick off what type of coral it is. Let's just say it's a branching coral. And once you've got a satisfactory amount of entries, or you're happy with what you've got, you put in the date, time, depth, temperature if applicable, and then you go online, submit it to the database, which I believe you can access through the Coral Watch page.
Yep. www.coralwatch.org.
Yep. And that's really good because that allows scientists in over 80 countries.
Yeah,
80,
scientists
70.
all around the world can access this
Yeah.
data.
so that chart can be used anywhere in the world.
Anywhere.
Yeah.
Let's say
Anywhere.
I go to Philippines tomorrow,
Yep.
deep dive in, check the coral.
If you have access to the internet, the database, you can
Yeah.
do it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
and if that reef is logged onto the Coral Watch database, but there's literally like so many reefs logged all around the world.
So what color is the best color the reef should be on?
Well, there's no specific best like colour as such, but what we like to see is more of the darker colours, because generally the darker the colour, the healthier the coral is, because it's got the higher concentration of zooxanthellae, like we talked about before. But it's like going into bleaching. What happens in bleaching is we see a lot of the lighter colours or just total white, and that means that the coral is dead. So generally, we like to see the darker colours. The darker the coral is, the more healthier it is normally.
Oh, so you're saying it's the darker the color?
Yep.
Okay, so I've done some diving and everything and stuff like that, but not like real deep in the water,
Yeah.
but in Philippines and Great Barrier Reef and stuff. So I've seen some real dark ones. So that means they're good, healthy.
Well, also with this, you can see that there's no blue corals. So
All pink?
All pink. And this is because of the certain colours of the corals, they have a different stress response. And so these are like the most known corals even on our reefs.
Yeah.
So we actually get a lot of like the turbinara corals, which are quite yellow and brown, and they're endangered. So we have mostly dominated turbinara corals on our reefs, and also we've got acropora and gonipora corals.
Yep.
So what's one most shocking or emotional thing that you probably personally see while monitoring reefs?
Well, for me, like, it is always super upsetting. It's very sad when you do see the coral bleaching, but just what actually like hurts me even more than that, I'm going to say, is that people, they just don't really care. They don't have any thought. They don't have any emotion behind, okay, I'm littering, I'm going to chuck in, I'm out in the reef, I'm fishing, that's all well and good. I'm going to chuck in a bait bag and I'm going to take 50 million fish. That's the exact opposite of what we want to see, because we want to see managed use. We want to see like a very sustainable approach to it, where you only take what you need. But I just think what is really painful is when we see, especially even the older people, like, you think that, you know, if a younger person does it, it's not great, but they're young and foolish. An older, wiser person, they litter, they take more fish species, more lobster, whatever, than they need. I just find that really upsetting.
Is there still genuine hope for our coral reefs in the future?
I think there is, if we as a collective, if we all come together, we all educate. So like, for instance, the thing that I find really exciting is like, you know, people see us as like Coral Watch ambassadors, and they think that they're like have to become an ambassador in order to raise awareness. But you don't have to do that. Just you, like, even just from this podcast, you just talking to someone and being like, hey, like, do you know there's a reef and it's only 50 meters from shore? And then you'd be surprised, just even with the education that you've even learnt tonight, you spreading that awareness will, you know, light something up in someone else's heart, and then they become curious and they can look online, and they, you know, just listening to this podcast as well is like educating people as a collective. And I think that's what will help reefs is raising awareness. And I think that's what's really important, and people actually seeing a reef for the first time, because I know there's like a lot of people, they go, oh, it doesn't really matter. But the amount of people that I've taken out to the reefs, just even on a clear bottom kayak, and they've just seen the reef, they're like blown away just from just how close it is to shore. And they're just like, Bree, I just can't believe that the reef's right here. And I think people are starting to realize too, like, nature is so healing for like even just our nervous systems and everything like that. And just going out into nature and even just diving, like, you know, the amount of thoughts that just disappear from your brain. So I think people are starting to realize too that as humans, we actually need nature. Nature's actually really like, you know, really helps us as well grow, and it's really calming. We need nature just as much as nature needs us. We need it more than nature needs us, because like that's where we get our food and everything like that. And yeah, and it's real, the benefits for mental health is amazing.
I think this is the same with a lot of big topics that like current worldwide issues and debates. I think that, like, look, if there are these big problems, I think, like, you know, the newspapers, all that, make out as if we're all going to die tomorrow at 2 o'clock. But I think, you know, that's not necessarily true. Maybe if we leave it, maybe if we just ignore the fact that, for example, the coral reefs aren't doing so well, that might happen. But I think that if, that's a key word, if we as humans come together, we ignore everything about ourselves, we ignore our differences. Okay, you're black, I'm white, I've got brown eyes, you've got blue eyes, whatever. I think that if we all come together and we can just work our hardest to make sure, just try to get something done, just even to try, I think that, like, there is a lot of hope. And look, even if we were to do that and not succeed, I reckon that, you know, at least we've come together, we've set our differences aside, and we've tried to improve something.
I think the depth of the whole coral and how extent you can go is unbelievable.
Yeah.
You know, there is no end to it.
Yep.
You know, but somewhere down the track you have to start. You know, and this is where it all starts, and then gradually it becomes into a program, or, you know, then you start into something, stop getting into politics, and then how I can preserve it and then stop it, you know, and or not even stop it, or just making it sure that whatever is done is to protect our ocean just next door that we have, you know. So no, which is great, guys. Now give me 3 best spots in Hervey Bay where you can see the best coral.
I would have to say the Gables is one of my favourite reefs, and the Torquay Reef. I really love those 2 places. They're so special, and there's such a diverse amount of marine life on those reefs. Like this morning, I went out snorkeling at the Gables and I was swimming with dolphins.
No
like,
way.
how
Really?
amazing is that?
Yeah.
And we get loggerhead turtles. Like, a lot of people don't know that we have turtles that nest along our beaches, and they're
like
endangered.
Monaco.
Yeah.
How deep you have to get in?
Oh, not deep at all. Depends on the tide, really. But I reckon at a high tide, it'd probably be anywhere from about 3 to 4 meters. About that. It's super shallow.
You could literally just go on a paddle board, and then just put your face on and just like float over the reefs. That's how close it is. Like, that's how amazing the reefs are.
Yeah, because like sometimes, especially if it's an outgoing tide, I'll be out there on a kayak or something. I'll be out there fishing, and you're drifting over the reefs, and you're worried you're gonna like scratch the top of the coral. That's how, like, they're so close, and like even at like a high tide, they're only probably about 50 centimetres to a metre down.
Fully expose at a low tide, and they can fully expose at 0.3 metres. And so you can actually literally walk out to the reefs and like see them fully exposed.
So it's more like, I've been to Lady Elliot, and I was gobsmacked.
Yeah.
What's there? Like,
It's pretty
I was
amazing.
like, oh my God, what is this? Like, literally, I'm not a greatest of the swimmer, but I actually like lie down and the reef was around me.
Yeah.
And the fishes were going, and I was like, dude, what is this?
Yeah.
This is so amazing, you know. So I think we have some. I think, and I can probably see what you're saying too. You know, like when you look into the water and everything, and you can see fishes and dolphins.
Well, we have like eagle rays as well. Like
Yeah.
and we've also got octopus.
Yeah.
Like spotted octopus on our reefs.
All
And
sorts.
yeah, there's literally, like we have whales that have come close to shore, like around Point Vernon and Scarness. And we've also had like little hammerhead sharks as
Yeah.
well. And we've got, had black tip reef sharks.
Yeah.
And I think like that's really amazing to see them on the reefs, because that means the reef's healthy.
And I reckon a lot of people that, oh my gosh, there's sharks out there, I'm going to get my head bitten off. Well, yes and no. Look, I know like I probably should be really encouraging this on the podcast, but I'm going to be honest. Like, if you're out there and you see a shark, you go up to it and you wave your hand in its face, you're probably going to get your hand bitten off. But as long as you don't as long as you're just respecting them, as long as you're keeping your distance, you're going to be perfectly fine, just like seeing a fish or like an eagle in the sky or whatever. And that's in the event that you do see a shark, because it's really, really safe out there.
Yeah. No, I completely get it, because the ocean is their home.
Yeah.
And we are going to their home, so we
Like
just
we're
want to
visitors.
behave
Yeah.
the way we want to behave. But some people being people,
Yeah.
I think you can't stop them.
Mm.
So, what is the weirdest marine creature you have come across?
Oh, this isn't really on the reefs, but like the mud skippers that in the mangroves and on the rocks, really interesting little creatures. They can survive on dry land for some periods of time. They like kind of flick themselves like a prawn would.
What is the biggest myth people believe about coral?
Okay, this is a big one. A lot of people think that corals are rocks. So they think they're rocks, and then trying to explain to them that they're actually little animals. But they're also plant-like as well. And that's why Jasper was talking about earlier, because they need to photosynthesize. So that's that algae, that zooxanthellae that lives inside their tissue. But they're animals. And a lot of people are like, they're just rocks, and trying to teach people that they're actually little animals under the water.
I think another one too is this isn't as deep or in depth, but a lot of people, they go out on the reef. The reefs we have here in Hervey Bay are absolutely beautiful. But even if they were to go out to Lady Musgrave, they're really disappointed for some reason, and they say, "Oh, I thought it was going to be rainbow corals the size of the roof. I thought it was." They picture a really stereotypical, really like disgustingly vivid coloured reef, and coral reefs can be they can be super complex, they can be super not simple, but they can appear to be simple. Like a lot of people, I think they go out expecting something massive and huge and colourful, but
I remember first time taking a friend to see a reef, and first thing he asked me is, "Where is Nemo?" Where is Nemo? I can't see Nemo. And that's what people relate to all this stuff. It's just what they see in the movies and TVs and expect. This is the fish is what coral is, and there's this, So
Yeah.
it's crazy. Like and
I think being able to duck dive is really an amazing to be able to go down there, because when you see the reef up real close, that's where I think the colours really come to life. But when you're like sitting on the top just snorkeling,
it's just like, oh.
Yeah,
because
I don't know. I don't know about you, but when you really duck dive and you really go down, that's when it's just, I don't know.
It's more of like a side profile, or I reckon from above you can see a fair bit, but more of like picture like you're in the centre of a compass, right? Like let's say northeast or northwest. I reckon if you're looking at it from the perfect angle, you're going to notice a lot more colours than just sitting on top of it or looking at it.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Okay. What do they call you at the school, mate? Like the coral watch guy, or?
Yeah, they used to a little bit. Not too many of them are really interested in the coral part. They're more so interested in like how they can help.
Yeah, okay, but I think it's very good, What's the funniest thing that happened to you guys? Anything?
Oh, I lost fin, and I was trying to find it, and I was freaking out because I didn't want to like pollute the water.
Yeah.
And I was like trying to find it And yeah, that was probably the funniest thing. So I was like
wait.
literally like swimming around with just one fin.
Yeah.
But then also freaking out at the same time, going, oh my God, I don't want to leave this fin here, you know? So yeah, that was probably the funniest thing, because for me, I haven't really had many funny moments on
I've
the
got
reef.
one really funny. I mean, I've got two. The first one sounds like a cartoon story, but so essentially I was out at the Gables Reef right there. I was thinking, I mean, I don't think there's, I think as long as, like, I like spearfishing, I think as long as you're doing it correctly, I think it can be more sustainable than the conventional, like, hook, line and sinker. But it's one time I was out at the reef there, it was really murky, and this was low tide, and I was kind of wading, kind of swimming. I saw something, I tried to have a go at it, but then it pretty much ripped it out of my hand, went swimming off with it. I saw it, and then I just couldn't, like, I went searching for it. I'm like, I got to find this thing. Could not find it. And the other one was, we were at Lady Musgrave. I'm kind of calling this poor lady out, but she said, I don't know how it came up, but we're talking about the, how, you know, Lady Musgrave is the second southern island. And she said, no, it's the first. Lady Elliot is the second southern. I'm like, okay, but seriously, there's a map where you work of the reef, and you're telling me that it's not the second southernmost, and you work here. It's a bit, wow.
So, okay, so let's say someone who's watching this, let's go geographically where the reefs are. Where do we sit in Hervey Bay? What part of the reef system we're in?
We're part of the Great Barrier Reef Lagoon, so we actually are part of the Great Barrier Reef. So we're like in. So you've got Gari here, so, and then the reefs kind of are in like a lagoon.
So we are part of Great Barrier Reef.
We actually really are, because scientist Maria Zan, in her research papers, she talks about and highlights that we are part of the Great Barrier Reef Lagoon, and that also helped council become a Reef Guardian Council.
Oh, wow.
So okay. Brisbane also had reefs close to shore, and a lot of them were aquapora reefs. And yes, they are super like south of the Great Barrier Reef, but just highlighting that Hervey Bay is part of the Great Barrier Reef Lagoon, I think will have so much tourist opportunities and so much potential even for funding for these reefs. And I think that's what these reefs really need. They need funding, they need support, because Hervey Bay is just dramatically growing. The more people that Hervey Bay has to support, the more that these reefs are going to be stressed and everything like that.
And
so
if we do it properly, like, that would be good for the local tourism industry, because, like, you know, that'll contribute to that.
Absolutely agree, and that can be part of the tourism advertising and everything, saying that we have one of the best reefs too, you know. And
well, like, also, like, a lot of the things that I've been noticing when I go out in the water is the more that you go, like, the more depth that there's not so much sediment around the reefs. But a lot of the reefs that have, like, those, like, you know, the drains that go out into the ocean.
Stormwater.
Stormwater. Unfortunately, like, there is a lot of sediment running out to the reefs, and it does cloud up the water. So when people go out to the reefs, they're like, oh, gross, yuck. But unfortunately, like, that's what these reefs are, you know, having to deal with.
And that's the same people, coming from the same people normally that would, I'm not saying all of them, but most of them probably, like, if they're finished, like, they get some takeaway, finish the food, chuck the wrapper outside the window. That goes, there's like a high chance that goes into the stormwater drain, into the reef from there, like, and it builds up, and even if it doesn't, it's just,
Yeah. What is the best time of the year to see reef in our region?
Autumn and winter.
Yeah.
So right now is a good time.
I reckon, because I know we've been having a lot of wind lately, but I've noticed that, you know, winter normally, I reckon, like, you know, if we don't have a lot of wind and, like, the conditions are ideal, like, the water is much clearer than it is in the summer normally. I'm not sure if that is true or if it's completely false, but that's just something I've noticed.
I've been out in summer. Yeah, so, like, you can snorkel out in summer, but I have on a southeasterly wind is really good.
And the Irukandji and all that summer too, though.
I haven't had any issues. Like, with my documentary, like, a lot of the footage that you see on there is summer and winter.
Okay.
Yeah, so, like, a lot of the, you know, like, if you a lot of, you know, what murks up the water and everything like that is to do with like stormwater runoff. But if you have like good days where it's just a southeasterly to southerly wind, like you can go out in summer, like you can get really pure conditions.
Yeah.
But in winter, it's amazing. It's like a fish tank.
I think that like I've been sometimes Point Vernon there, right out front of Bruin View, that big cliff, that big rock there. I was standing there, I was out of my kayak. I just parked the kayak up there, had a look directly out, and you could see, like, I'm not exaggerating here, you could probably see for about a kilometre out there, and like you could see everything.
Is that where the Gaddicus Bay is? No.
Gaddicus is on the other side.
Yeah.
So this is on this side of the Esplanade, on Point Vernon.
So you've got Point Vernon, right? So Gaddicus Bay on this side of Point Vernon, which is Gaddicus Bay here.
Yeah.
It's just where we got a lot of the bleaching and stuff, but it's still a nice spot there. It's just a bit sad now. Then you've got Essa Park here.
That's where the bleaching was at
Oh,
Essa.
yeah.
So
but-
Gaddicus has like mostly dominated acropora coral, but a lot of the gonipora corals bleached, which was sad.
Yeah.
So what we're gonna do is Bree's gonna give us a bit of a blurb on the documentary.
Yep.
Correct. Yep. So go ahead, go crazy on the camera.
So last year I did a documentary on the reefs of Hervey Bay, and I actually did it on Jasper and his story, and it's about 8 minutes. But I won 2 film awards at the Fraser Shorts Film Festival last year, which was really exciting. And yeah, it's just like raising awareness and education about our coral reefs in Hervey Bay, and just how significant they are.
Yeah, guys, if you haven't watched that documentary, go to their Facebook page, Coral Watch, and the video is there. I've personally seen it myself while I was doing a bit of a research. It is really nicely shot. It's really good info in there. I think Jasper's sitting there and walking towards the reef. I think that's the starting point and something like that. Yeah, great. So do watch the documentary. If you watch to the end here, guys, the whole idea of this podcast is to share and spread the awareness. If our podcast has reached even to one person and they decide to make a small difference to change our reef, we have done our job, you know. So thanks, guys. Thanks for coming to the podcast.
Thank you very much.
And sharing such an informative session. It's so new to us. Like being in the Bay for 15 years, this is super new to me, you know. So I think I've learned a lot from you guys.
Thank you very much.
So that, as they say, learning can come at any age from anybody.
Yeah.
You know. So, and thank you so much for sharing that with our audience. And thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank
That
you
was
so
awesome.
much. Thank you.
Awesome.